desk in Grandpa Joe's office. A plain 12 by 14-foot room off an open area out front, where the scheduling, record-keeping, and customer service took place. Attached to the building in a big metal warehouse, there was a truck service department that held replacement and repair parts, tires, batteries, oil, fluids, and anything else a big 18-wheeler might need, as well as a maintenance bay where the mechanics did the actual work on the rigs. A huge asphalt yard, surrounded by a chain-link fence, faced the road out in front. Carly studied the computer screen on her desk, going over account records, scrolling down one column after another, trying to find enough money to pay the employees their 2-week checks. When she'd arrived in Texas, she'd had no idea the terrible financial straits Drake Trucking was in. Joe had been a successful businessman all his life. He'd run the company with a firm hand and an eye on every dollar. But apparently his bad health had taken its toll. He'd been so busy with doctor visits and trips in and out of the hospital that the business had gone downhill. And though he had been on Medicare, there were still outstanding medical bills that had to be paid. Having only been in Texas a week when Joe died, Carly hadn't had nearly enough time to figure out what was going on and start trying to solve the problem. Not enough time to save Drake Trucking or her grandfather. A familiar deep pang reminded her of the loss of the man who had raised her. She should have come back sooner. If she had been there, she could have relieved some of Joe's stress. She could have made sure he was taking his meds, that he kept his medical appointments. Maybe he would have lived a few more years. Carly shoved the guilt away. She didn't have time for that now. She had responsibilities, people to worry about, a company to run. Late in the afternoon, by holding off on some of the utility bills, some of the suppliers' invoices, a bill from Joe's attorney, Willard Spears, for settling Joe's estate, and a lot of miscellaneous debts she didn't yet understand, she managed to round up enough to make payroll and had all the checks written. Tomorrow she would get on the phone and start making cold calls, see if she could stir up some business. She'd do whatever it took to make the company profitable again. She had failed her grandfather before. No matter how hard she had to work, Carly wasn't going to fail him again. A quick knock sounded and the door swung open. It was Donna Melendez, a Latina who had been Joe's office manager for years. Donna was in her 50s, with long black hair turning silver and the kind of work ethic money alone couldn't buy. "I just got a call from Texas American. Linc and Cain's secretary wants to make an appointment." Carly thought of their meeting at the cemetery. Cain's tall, broad-shouldered build and amazing face popped into her head, and a trickle of warmth spread through her. Recognizing that warmth as attraction, she firmly tamped it down. She wasn't interested in Cain or any other man. At least not now or any time in the near future. "I saw him at the funeral. He said he wanted to talk to me." "Well, he certainly didn't waste any time." "He didn't look like a man who wastes time." Donna chuckled. "I put him down for 2 p.m. I told his secretary I'd call her back if that was a problem." 2 is fine." That would give her all morning to make calls and spend a little more time going over the books. There was a lot she didn't understand about running this business. Way too much she needed to learn. As a teenager, she'd spend hours after school and on weekends with Joe at the yard, and she had picked up a lot. The summer of her 18th birthday, he had taught her to drive a big rig, which had been a thrill, though she had never left the field they pretended was a road. Back then, Joe had wanted her to work with him, maybe take over the business after he was gone. At the time, she hadn't been interested in staying in Iron Springs, but years had passed. Things had changed. The phone rang, Joe's direct line. When she pressed the receiver against her ear, the voice of Emmett Howler, sheriff of Howler County.